Good morning. Well, I decided my local loop today is going to be one of my most favorite walks in Bucks County. It's at this place called Peace Valley Park, and it's a 6-mile paved loop around Lake Galena. Now I am here a little bit later in the morning, and boy is it crowded with summer camps and just walkers and bikers and joggers. There's a whole lot of people sharing the path. That being said, it's a very wide path. You can easily accommodate 3 bikers across or have 2 very solid lanes of traffic going, so don't really worry about that. I believe Lake Galena is based off of the Galena that was found here in the 19th century, which was a type of lead. And then by the mid-20th century, the lead was tapped out, the industry moved on, and they flooded the area, and now we have this beautiful lake. So I parked into what is called the north entrance of Peace Valley Park. It is a county park of Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Because it's so crowded, sometimes parking is a little hard to find. I usually like parking at the Peace Valley Nature Center. However, there are summer camps going on and all kinds of craziness there, so I just continued down the road and found myself a parking spot. There are parking lots spread all around the perimeter of the lake, and since it is a very large lake, you will usually eventually find a place to park. This is a loop, so you can eventually make your way back there. All right, let's go trek and explore Lake Galena. Even though the lake is basically the main feature, you have to know that there are some other trails up by the Peace Valley Nature Center. And if you're a fan of birds, that is definitely where to go. You can see bald eagles cruising up and down the creek here, heading back to their nesting grounds after fishing in the lake. Another thing about this walk is that even though there are some shady forested places along the 6 miles, you definitely want to bring your sunscreen, because more times than not, you will definitely be out in full sun. So make sure you have enough water, maybe even a little bit of a snack, and most definitely protect yourself from the sun. As we approach the dam side to the lake, on the other side there's a place that you can rent kayaks and canoes, so you can go out on the water and spend some time out there. I used to love paddleboarding here. The wind sometimes does create quite a strong current, so it might be a little bit hard to row or paddle, but if you want a break from hiking, you can always take yourself out into the water and enjoy a bit of the scenery from the center of it all as well. So up on the dam, it's almost like 2 levels. We stayed on the completely asphalt paved trail, but there's also a gravel trail just beyond that heads up actually into the housing development not too far from here. Now, this is a great place to see those eagles I talked about, but there's also a ton of swallows, and you might even see the occasional osprey here. Right by the Peace Valley Nature Center, there's this little oasis where you climb across the bridge and then you can head to where some of the trails are. This is exactly where that side trail is, where you can sit. If you have a morning, just sit quietly all morning, and if you have a good view of the water, you can see the bald eagles sometimes come back and forth, bringing their food back to their nests, especially during prime nesting season. It is definitely a little bit off the beaten path. Sometimes birder groups or photography groups will go back in there because this area is known to also house prothonotary warblers and other waterfowl, especially blue herons. But this is definitely a nice little tucked away oasis if you just like to sit in the woods and bring some food, maybe draw some trees, and just take in the sounds and only really encounter a few people, especially if you're coming on a weekday or early in the morning. So I just passed the Peace Valley Nature Center, which is kind of the home base for this park. And the thing that's amazing about this place is they have a lovely bird blind that's open all year round. And it's completely free. You can just walk in, you just make sure you close the gate because the deers get in and eat their plants. And you can just sit there and watch all of the Pennsylvania forest birds that you would expect, and the occasional green egret and other water birds that swoop in as well. I highly recommend if you need a place to sit and you just want to enjoy some nature, go check out the bird blind at the Peace Valley Nature Center. For the most part, this entire trail is flat, but from the Nature Center, if you're going counterclockwise, you'll notice that pretty early on from the Nature Center, you start to go up a pretty steep incline. What comes up must go down. If I remember correctly, it's about a 6% grade, which is quite a grade, especially if you are running. So it'll be a steady incline going counterclockwise, and then you will meet the crazy incline followed by the decline, and eventually you will end up right at that north entrance of the park where I so happen to park today. So that grade actually ended up being an 8% slope, but if you're going counterclockwise around the lake, you are going to be going down. If you're more of an up person, choose to go clockwise around the lake and you will enjoy an 8% grade climb. Alright, so there it is. That is basically the 6-mile loop around Lake Galena, which is located at Peace Valley Park in Chalfont, Pennsylvania, which is part of the Bucks County, Pennsylvania park system. It does get really crowded, especially I would say after 9 o'clock. It is the summertime right now, which basically means there are summer camps and grandparents taking their grandkids around and fishing and all sorts of things. But there are nice little pockets where it isn't crowded at all. And generally speaking, everybody decently obeys etiquette in terms of right-of-ways for bikes and not walking necessarily 4 people across and blocking the road or the pathway. And if you just say good morning or on your left or on your right, generally speaking, people move out of the way and everything's okay. So definitely check out this park. Definitely check out the Peace Valley Nature Center. It is completely worth it, and it is a wonderful thing to support in this local area. This is a well-maintained park, and people love it, and it definitely shows. So come give some love to Lake Galena in Chalfont, Pennsylvania.